What is going on, guys? Grave here. Today I'd like to talk about some issues and things, just feedback wise, that I would like to see happen within Battlefield 6 now that the first weekend of the beta is behind us. Now, of course, we have another weekend coming up here in just a few days, starting again on Thursday and running to Sunday. And that'll be the last beta we have until the game officially launches on October the 10th. Now, I've seen a lot of different conversations going on about what people like and don't like. Some of these key things that I guess that I'm going to talk about here are just experiences that I had personally. So first of all, visibility at times I felt like was kind of odd in some of the darker areas of the map. For the most part, I thought visibility was good compared to some other Battlefield games we've had in the past, and we all know that some games have taken months, if not close to a year, to get the visibility right, because sometimes it's just hard to see players inside of Battlefield. Like I said, I don't think it was awful, but I still think in certain areas of the map, the darker areas to be specific, visibility was not great, but I think visibility just as a whole probably could use a little bit more work. I'm not quite sure what they can do here, but the darker areas I think would be an easier fix than visibility, just kind of in general. Some balancing issues. I know I've seen a lot of people talk about how they don't think the weapons have enough recoil or whatever. Just kind of depends on where you stand there, but I do think that the weapons probably could use a bit of balance. We all know that the shotgun's definitely going to get looked at and kind of changed. They've already stated that that was going to happen. When it comes to some of the other weapons, I feel like some of them are really strong and not in a bad way. But I feel that there are a few there that might be a bit weaker. I think those could just be buffed up. I really don't want to see them start nerfing this weapon and buffing this weapon. And like most shooters do, I'd like to see everything kind of stay where it's at, but just buff up some of the other weapons. I think the LMGs are really good because they don't have tons and tons of recoil like some LMGs have in the past and other shooters. But I feel like at the same time, some of the two we had available to us feel like at certain ranges they're just not as powerful as they could be. So I think they might take a little bit of a look at that as well. There was no real big, crazy, game-breaking bugs to me. There was, of course, bugs. It is a beta. I had some visual glitches within the environment, some things like that I think definitely could be looked at. But overall, I thought the experience was very smooth, and it's probably one of the smoother Battlefield betas I've ever played since they have been doing betas anyway. A lot of the past years, a lot of the past games, the betas have been not really good. Not like the game was bad. It's just there was a lot of issues. And, of course, this is definitely something to do with the Battlefield Lab. So they've been working on this game and playtesting this game for a really long time now. And you definitely could tell it because the beta ran a lot smoother than I think most of us expected. One thing that I have seen people discuss has been time to death. So not really the TTK. A lot of people think the time to kill is way too fast. To me, it feels just like Battlefield 3. I don't know if you've played that game or not, but Battlefield 3 was a game that you could move around the map quickly. When it comes to time to kill, it was fast. But time to death is that time that you really don't have to react, where you see someone aiming at you and you die instantly. Now, one of the developers has already been on social media talking about this, on forums talking about this, saying they wanted any gameplay footage that people had saved sent to them so they could figure out what the problem was, because they wanted to make sure that you still have time to react. But at the same time, I don't really think they're wanting to change the time to kill too much. They're just trying to fix that time to death issue, which of course could be a little bit of a problem there within the server itself, where it's not registering everything that you're seeing on screen. One thing that I kind of have an issue with personally, and of course a lot of you may like it, some of you may not, is the auto ping system. Of course, when you aim down sight, you see that little, of course, it used to be a Dorito. I guess it's not a Dorito now, but that little logo goes over the image logo that goes over the enemy's head that you are looking at. And of course, that's not giving that information to everyone unless you ping them, but it gives that information to you so you have enemies marked. I feel like it is a bit too strong, especially around smoke. People could throw smoke down and try to move around the map to avoid tanks or avoid line of sight from a sniper or something like that. And if they had you, already kind of marked on their screen, a lot of times you would get shot through that smoke. And I felt like that was a bit much, in my opinion. I would have loved to have just the regular ping system that we've had in, older Battlefield games like BF4, BF3, or games, you know, even before that. But for the most part, I know a lot of people like it, and it's probably a visual thing to help out with visibility, as I talked about kind of at the beginning. So it's going to give you a bit more visual cue to where someone's at. But at the same time, I feel like it's kind of weird if somebody is just sitting there waiting, aim down sight, and they're, or even just kind of looking around the map, and you're within a certain kind of meter, or, you know, a couple meters of that range where it picks you up, that they can see you, like I said, through smoke or things like that. I think that could definitely be worked on. And last but not least, the field specs are very neat. Kind of an interesting thing we have there, where each class has its own spec that they can run, and you know, you get that benefit when it is maxed out. So for example, if you're running the recon class, you kind of got a UAV that goes around. If you're running the engineer class, you get the ability to repair things faster. If you have the support class, you have the bag that you can throw down, that you're going to get faster revives and things like that. So once you build up that in the game, all the different specs from level 0 to the max level, at the max level you do get that spec. The only thing that I had an issue with in the beta is a lot of times I forgot about it. Now, of course, that's something a lot of us have to get used to using inside of Battlefield, but at the same time, I didn't really feel like the visual cue for it being ready was that great, because it's kind of on the side of your screen, you know, kind of grayed out image. It's not like it's eye-catching when it is ready to go. I feel like that could be a bit better to give you a notification when that is ready, because there'll be times that I really did forget about it during the beta, and I was like, oh my god, I kind of played the entire game and never used it one time. I eventually got the hang of it more, but there were still times where, or more often to use it, but there were still times where I was forgetting, and I was probably wasting, you know, 2 or 3 uses throughout the entire match, where I just kind of forgot about it until I realized that I had not used it yet. So I think that is something they could also work with. But overall, I had an absolute blast with the Battlefield week 1 beta. I'm really looking forward to the second weekend. I think there's a lot of feedback coming from the community. I hope we see some of these changes, you know, implemented into the game. I don't know if we'll see it in week 2 of the beta or not. We'll kind of have to wait and see what they say about that, but at least see some of these changes come into the game on release. Anyway, guys, leave me a comment. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you would like to see changed, what you enjoyed, the things you didn't enjoy about the beta. And of course, if you like the video, hit the like. If you have not subscribed yet, please do so, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.